Now, this is a minor spoiler, although there's no guarantee this is even going to air on TV tomorrow night. A rare spoiler escaping from the confines of the Performance Center. Kyrie Sane was injured in a match with Nia Jax that was taped for tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw. Apparently, Nia whipped Kyrie into the ring steps, or into the direction of the ring steps. Kyrie tried to take the bump a certain way with her side, but she ended up clipping the top of her head on the stairs. And she busted herself open, what was said to be a pretty serious gash, I guess, on her head, and she briefly knocked herself out, which is never good. When you are knocked out, especially she's got a concussion history, that is not good. But even though they stopped the match, I believe they let the match continue because she said she was okay. I guess they must have put something on her head. She finished the match. And I don't know if this is going to air on television, if they're going to edit if there's even a way to edit the injury out, if it was as bad as they're saying it is. I don't know. All I know is that it is said that this was not Nia Jax's fault. Kyrie, it was just the way she was positioning herself heading into the ring steps. We'll see if they air it tomorrow night. Things don't end well for Kyrie Sane when she's in the ring with Nia Jax, right? In her last match, Kyrie took that nasty buckle bomb in the corner. And speaking of the buckle bomb, according to PW Insider, they confirmed it with multiple sources in the company that WWE has banned the buckle bomb. Power bombing people into the corner is no longer authorized going forward in matches. I assume this was in response to Nia using it on Kyrie all those weeks ago. This is the same move that ended Sting's career 5 years ago. I say good riddance. It's unnecessary. It's stupid. I am generally not a fan of banning moves, like arbitrarily just banning a bunch of moves. I think you could tell people to tone it down. I think you can kind of warn the talent. Generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of just outright banning this and banning that. But since they did, good riddance. I will gladly make an exception here. It still makes me mad that Rollins gave Sting 2 of those when they wrestled at Night of Champions. The man is almost, now he's over 60, but at the time, the man was almost 60 years old. Why do you give him 2 buckle bombs in a match? Now, I know Sting does not blame Rollins. It's not a matter of blame. Sting, he says, look, it was just a freak thing. I don't blame Seth at all. I took it the wrong way. The point is, it never should have happened. A guy like that should not be taking a move like that. He shouldn't be taking it once, let alone twice. Why do you have to do it twice? You already did it once. And he got hurt the first time. You could see he's moving his fingers. He lost feeling, but then he got his feeling back. He got his sea legs back underneath him. He was good to go. So you go back to the well and you do it again? You chuck this guy, almost halfway across the ring into the... Why? Why even do it? Why even do it? But Sting got hurt taking the move. Finn Balor got hurt taking the move by Seth into a barricade outside the ring. Again, you could say, well, the way he positioned his arms. All right, well, you know what? If it's that hard for these guys to position themselves... yes, there have been a lot of guys who have taken buckle bombs and they don't get hurt. I understand that. It's a stupid move. Unlike Money in the Bank, the risk is not worth the reward. It's a transition spot. It's not even a finish. It's not even Seth's finish or Nia's finish. It's just a move. It's like a chop or a punch or a kick. It's a stupid move, and I'm glad it's gone. Now, tomorrow night, we're getting champion against champion. Asuka takes on Charlotte Flair because she isn't getting nearly enough television time as it is. I'm shocked she hasn't popped up yet on 205 Live. Give it time. She probably will. Have Charlotte Flair against Lindsay Dorado on television. That might not be a bad match. Apollo Crews defends the U.S. Championship against an opponent of his choosing. We did have Angel Garza on television Monday night during Andrade and Apollo's match. They cut to him in the back, right in the middle of the match. He's watching it, and he starts talking about lovemaking. He's talking about sex. He's comparing what it's like to kind of be in a match, I guess, to lovemaking. Maybe he could convince Apollo to give him a title match. Maybe it's Apollo defending against Angel Garza, and this could be the start. Andrade is perhaps going to start to be, growing jealous at Garza and how cocky and arrogant he is and the attention being paid to him by Zelina Vega. It's kind of the same angle I pitched, before he came back from suspension. I said, well, this is perfect because when he comes back, Zelina will have been managing Angel Garza now for a while, and maybe he's kind of getting all the attention, and Andrade gets very jealous, and eventually there's an explosion between the two, and Andrade could be the one to go babyface, and then they feud. We could still see that. We could still see that same angle play out here. So perhaps that could be the start of something between those two. And we're getting a retirement ceremony for Rey Mysterio featuring Seth Rollins, which screams angle alert. Rollins was walking around with Rey's mask on TV Monday night after nearly blinding him on the ring steps in that attack a few weeks ago. So where is this going? We had heard that they did the angle potentially because Rey's contract is coming up soon. They weren't sure. He hasn't re-signed yet. Is Rey going to leave? Is he going to go to AEW? Is he going to stay with WWE? There's one very big reason why I think Rey is going to stay in WWE, and it has to do with his son training at the Performance Center in WWE. So I would be surprised if Rey did leave. I would be. I would be surprised if they let him go. They didn't make him a big offer and kept him. And if he didn't stay, in part because of that. Never say never, but I expect him to stay. Maybe he is, because now they're doing this retirement ceremony, which clearly is going to be some kind of an angle that they're shooting on TV. What's the payoff here? Obviously a match, maybe a backlash, maybe one-on-one, Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, although I don't see that necessarily being the end of it. They may wrestle a backlash. Seth has no match. Rey has no match. But what else could this be building to? Rey has been very vocal. Here's one of the reasons why I don't see him going anywhere. He's been very vocal about wanting, before he does retire, wanting to team with his son. He wants to do a tag team match and work alongside of his son, Dominic, who is said to be coming along very nicely at the Performance Center. What little we saw of him last year, he looked pretty impressive. He obviously was bumping around like crazy for Brock Lesnar, although it's hard not to. I mean, the guy, when Brock Lesnar is throwing you around, you're kind of going to have to bump no matter what. But what little we got to see of Dominic, maybe not so much his promo ability, but was impressive for a guy with very little experience. Young guy. I was impressed. Maybe the ultimate payoff is Rey and Dominic against Rollins and Murphy, or Rollins and one of his other minions, one of his disciples. Maybe they swerve us. Maybe it's not. Maybe they swerve us and it's Raven and the Sandman from ECW all over again, when Raven brainwashed Sandman's 7-year-old son into joining him and turned him against his father. I think that's less likely. I'm not even sure what the rationale would be for Dominic to suddenly turn on his father after being so vocal about him not retiring last year. Remember those promos? Oh, Poppy, you can't retire, Poppy. So why all of a sudden would he turn on his father? That wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. More than that, though, it just sounds like he's not ready. It doesn't sound like he's ready for that. You could do a match with him, but to get him on TV to do like a turn on his father and join the Rollins faction, that would put him on television full time. And it doesn't sound like he's anywhere close to being ready for something like that, at all. I say, don't rush the kid if he's not ready. He's progressing well. Don't mess with that. Take your time with him. Call him up when he's ready. But to build to a tag team match, I think that could work. And I think it's something that Rey clearly wants, and perhaps that's what it's building to, maybe sometime later this summer. But in the meantime, I would expect that whatever happens in this retirement ceremony tomorrow night, it probably builds to a singles match at Backlash.